This comment on one of my socials, and it was on a video I did about, taking a serious look at where I'm at in trucking and what I want to do from here. Um, and it says the ATA is the problem. So for those of you not in trucking, the ATA is the American Trucking Association. The ATA is a large lobbying firm that represents trucking companies, not truck drivers. So every time the ATA comes out in support of something, you have to ask yourself, why do they support this? Now, it always comes down to dollars and cents for the companies that are their member companies. Now, they will trot out a series of drivers that are employees, and oftentimes longtime employees of their member companies, and they will be like their road ambassadors or whatever. And they'll travel around, talk about the virtues of the big companies and the ATAs and the laws and regulations and how great things are. But they don't represent truck drivers as a whole. Now, the ATA and their member companies are responsible for huge cost burdens and regulatory burdens on the trucking industry. Things such as the electronic log mandate, lobbying Congress to keep drivers exempt from overtime regulations. They're responsible for pushing the driver shortage narrative. When that narrative first came up, it was a projected shortage, and they dropped the word projected and they just said shortage. And then on the heels of that, they turn around and they apply pressure to our representatives and at state level and national level to bring in foreign labor that can work more cheaply, that are willing to work more cheaply and drive rates down. They have stood in the way of holding brokers' feet to the fire for transparency, because a lot of them own their own brokerage firms. So, in a sense, the ATA is the problem. As with any lobbying organization, ATA is going to do what their member companies tell them to do and pay them to do. So this really falls at the feet of the companies that are members of the ATA. Now, it's not hard to figure out who these companies are. And they will talk about, oh, no, that's not true. But when you look at the fact of the pay and benefits drivers receive, the living conditions drivers put up with, the abuse drivers take from shippers and receivers with hours of unpaid time at the dock, no overtime pay, oftentimes being provided nothing but a dirty porta-john, if that, being locked out of buildings in inclement weather. The treatment drivers often receive from law enforcement agencies, especially being assumed guilty and having to prove your innocence. You have to stay tuned for the next video.